When I think about safety in the workplace here at the City of Hot Springs, I see it as a topic where we don't talk about feeling safe, and that's not something that we tend to talk a lot about. But we can feel safe, which means we're free from hurt, harm, or danger in our workplaces today. But the key to all of this is focusing on keeping ourselves and others that we work with free from the things that can often cause accidents. So, in other words, we have to be careful with what we're doing and how we're doing it.
What does safety mean to you personally?
Personally, personally, it would mean that I have no fears about going on job sites with contractors. We use third-party contractors a lot. We can't tell the third-party contractors what to do, but I want them looking safe when I'm on the job site. And I have at times told people to do different things, and it's really not sometimes the city's place to do that, but I want them to know my personal self that I'm safe on a job site. And I think that also goes for the employees that we have, our inspectors. We do a lot of highway work, and we're out there really driving 55 miles an hour, down Central Avenue, Highway 7 South, 7 North, 270 West, and busy intersections like we're all around Oaklawn right now, and it's always bad when you have traffic closure lanes and you have your safety, flashers going on in the vehicle. You need to get out with your vest and your hat on, and if you're doing anything in an excavation in a hole, make sure you have the proper, safety glasses and a hard hat on.
Safety means to me is to make sure all customers are taken care of and make sure there's nothing in their way that's going to interfere with them. Safety is also we're looking out for one another and making sure everything around the building, runway, everything, make sure there's no debris, nothing that's going to be in the way that's going to cause anybody harm whatsoever, and that we look out for one another. Always look out for each other.
Yeah, I think safety is the most important part of our job rather than everything that we do. We've got to consider from a safety perspective before we start to do it, so that we get to go home safe at the end of each day.
I would say safety means going home with my family.
Yeah, that's a great answer.
Yeah, same thing, and go home in the afternoons and with the family and play with the great kids and just relax.
Safety means to me my life and my insurance that I go home to my wife and kids every day. And not only looking out for my safety, but the safety of my coworkers and the people around me when they go home.
I agree with you 100%. For me, safety is making sure that I make it home in one piece at the end of the day. Take an extra second to make sure that myself and people around me do as well.
Well, personally, it means you get to go home to your family when you leave here. I think when we come to work, we don't want to leave with missing fingers and all that kind of stuff. I figure if you come in, do what you're supposed to do, and leave personally, I think you did 100%, 1,000% of your job if you go home the way you came, without missing fingers and toes and all that stuff. So safety is the number one priority up here. Just kind of notice if you look around, we have all the chains up, all the chains on the door safety, and that keeps anybody from just coming in. So that safety is number one priority.
Me being able to go home with everything you tend to work with. Being a manager, I'm not always out in the field, but when I was out in the field, you look at what you're going to do, look out for your fellow workers. Like we work in the traffic a lot, so the worker may stay car.
Work zone.
Right, in a work zone. But safety means to me is being able to go home with everything I can do.
Safety to me personally is ensuring that everything I do throughout the day at the office and at home, I do it the safest way that I can without harming myself or anybody around me.
It keeps me from being hurt, me losing time on my job, taking care of the public. For you?
About the same thing. Safety is very important. I mean, you need to keep everybody safe around you. Keep yourself safe, and just keep your area in a clean fashion to keep everybody safe.
Here at the City of Hot Springs, I can say that over the past few years, our safety has taken off phenomenally. With the help of our safety coordinator, trainer, Teri Vann. She's had boots on the ground, and she's been going about establishing a safe workplace for our employees by instilling an attitude of working safe here in the workplace. And that means by employees having the proper PPE, the proper equipment, that they get on the job, hands-on training, experience, and that they also know how to recognize things that could possibly cause accidents or hurt harm to any of our coworkers. And because of this, she has taken great strides in helping employees to work safer in the workplace by it being them having knowing about proper lifting techniques, establishing work zone safety, or just putting the training to work that they've received in the classroom and in the workshops and all that they've attended. One thing about her, you'll rarely find her sitting in her office behind a computer. But more than likely, she'll be out among the field employees where they're actually doing the work. You'll maybe find her at a water sewer site repairing a main, or just watching employees digging up a street where they are there to work on it. You might find her out at the construction site where they are building the new water tower that's located behind Lowe's. Or she can be out among the parks and trails employees, sanitation, traffic, street, traffic, urban, forestry, any of those workers, maybe the airport, even animal services.
What do you guys do to protect yourself? How do you protect yourself from injury when you are out on the job?
Just basically moving slow, methodically. We have all of our PPE that we're required to wear. We have it in our trucks, and then we have some in the shelter. And just, making sure what we're doing is safe and everything around us is safe.
Part two of that question is, how do you protect other employees in that same situation? How do you protect other employees? What do you do to contribute to that?
Just having their back, just looking around, making sure that they're operating in a safe manner, free from any trip hazards, any overhead lines, just be aware, safety aware is the biggest thing. And we train on that, we touch on that in-house a lot. So we just try to stay constant about it and do it over repetition and just try to play as safely as we can and each other also.
Well, for what
each other know what's right, what's not, and what's unsafe around you. Like to me, it's like the 360 rule, just be aware of 360 degrees everywhere around you. Whether you're moving forward, backwards, up or down.
You send out, and you probably see phishing tests. Make sure that you know what to look for so you don't click on something suspicious too, because it's not just us who have to protect our passwords, it's you as well. The employees are the final form of defense for our security.
Aware of my surroundings, being aware of hazards, being aware of things that could potentially cause harm to myself. I try to eliminate those things, and also from my employees and also for the public. If we see hazards, we remove those. Report them if they need to be reported, as far as repairs, as far as fire hazards or road hazards. I saw a big pothole this morning that I needed to report because that could damage the vehicle, which could potentially throw a passenger out of the bus, out of the seat. So just being aware of your surroundings, I think, is the most important thing of safety.
Usually when we're out working in the beds and stuff and meetings downtown and in the streets, we always put out cones and wear safety vests and stay out of the street as much as possible so you won't be a traffic hazard. Look out for the other person, make sure they're complying with everything too.
Maybe a safety meeting beforehand, right before you start, so here's what we need to be looking for, and what we need to wear and so forth, but just maybe a little safety meeting before you ever start the project.
What I've seen of you, Alan, since you've been here with the city, is I've seen you set the example. Pretty much every time I've seen you out, I've seen you in your safety gear.
Right.
But
yeah, that was one of the first things, you know, when you're working on the side of the road, and we do a lot, just visibility, making sure people can see you, and making that, you know, obviously be ready and prepared when you get there.
Making sure that no cords are hanging, because I trip real easy. So making sure that there's things that secure those cords down. Just making sure things are cleaned up and taken care of in a proper way, secured, so that I'm safe and I don't pick up anything without making sure I can lift it by myself. And if I can't, then I definitely ask for help. I don't climb if I can avoid that. You know, if I need help with something like changing the water cooler, that's a big thing. I can't do that by myself, so I have to get help. And so I just always be sure and ask for help.
Part two of that question is, what do you do for the employees that you work with? How do you keep their area as safe as possible?
Again, trip hazards, making sure that you're keeping things cleaned up and secured, locked down. Also, like if you see a wet floor, put out a sign that says wet floor so no one falls, you know, or if you see that someone's, or you know, have a spill in the break room, you clean that up, and that way it's not left there for someone to slip on. Things like that. I think if you see a hot surface, you know, like the stove is on, you make sure and let people know that that's on and that it's hot, you know, so that they don't touch it.
Kathleen, those are great answers.
Just being responsible and communicating with people.
Right.
MSDS sheets, those are important. Oh my gosh, that's another thing. Chemicals that require MSDS sheets, I try to make sure I have those on hand.
Try to not get complacent. You gotta always, even though we do the same thing day in, day out, you gotta always be on your toes, paying attention to what's going on.
Yep. Part two of that question, how do you protect your coworkers or your employees? How do you protect them daily? Provide them with PPE?
Yeah, provide them with PPE. If they have problems with the truck, make sure we get it fixed.
Some safety training?
Well, yeah, we have safety meeting every month.
Well, we all need to make sure we have the safety vest on, hard hats on, and if we're working in an area where there's traffic, glasses, safety glasses, gloves. Naturally, we wear steel-toe boots. All of our PPE.
What about your work zone?
That we have to make sure our work zone is protected with signs, cones, flaggers, and staging areas.
Make sure wear the protective gear, stuffing, colors provided by the city, or that, make sure it's seen visibly by pedestrians driving.
Right. And the other part two to that question is, while you're in that work zone, what do you do to protect the people around you, the employees working around you?
Make sure they have that on too. Make sure they have on their vests, hard hats, or seen by pedestrians.
Safety vests, gloves, work boots, hard hats, safety glasses, ear protection.
And part two of that question is, and do you protect other employees like I know that you would have employees working under you? Do you make sure that you protect your employees?
We do that for each other.
Make sure everybody does their safety equipment.
But I'm talking about, how do you protect your personal body, your own self?
Wear my safety equipment. Wear your PPG.
Yeah, you answered part two. How do you protect your employees while y'all are in that work zone or on that work zone?
I'm watching everybody. Hopefully everybody's watching me.
But what about PPE?
Make sure they all got on their safety equipment.
One thing I really push with the guys here, I always want them to watch out for everyone else that we work with. For whether I'm telling them cars behind you, I always want them to keep their eyes open, to pay attention, because they're not only looking out for themselves, they need to look out for us too. So we try to work really close as a team and know what's around us at all times.
If you're close to traffic, I'm just kind of getting out of it, but what type of protection would you wear in the traffic area?
We have our vests, we have the class 3 vests, or we have the shirts that's got the stripes on them. We've got our cones set up, we've got signs we can put out. So we try to use anything we can, we try to use.
And so that's part 2 of this is and how do you protect your coworkers? If your coworkers showed up to work with you on the job site, but if there was only one vest, what would happen?
We would probably try to go get another vest, stop. We would have to, delay the project a little bit until we could get all the safety things.
PPE, working on safety, check the truck, look out for my fellow coworkers, make sure they got all their stuff on off.
Now, part 2 of that question is, what do you guys do to make sure that the workers are safe?
Make sure we all follow the rules.
Would you walk up to someone and say, make sure you're all get the right required?
And they can walk up to us too. They can walk up to us too without any kind of backlashing or anything. Sometimes people get to it. They can walk up to us, walk back to us.
We make sure we have proper protection equipment, whether it's safety glasses, hard hat, safety vest, steel toe boots, rubber boots, just whatever we need, and make sure we wear it. And I make sure all the employees wear it too during anything they're doing that could cause them to get hurt.
High visibility vest. That's the number one thing.
Hard hats if you need them.
Right.
Situational awareness.
Yeah, definitely pay attention to what's going on around you. A lot of that though is with your crew. These guys here, I keep an eye out, but I don't worry about them so much because they keep an eye out for me too. I get around some of these other crews that I don't know. I'm a little more leery, but the guys I've been around out here take pretty good care of me, so I don't worry about them.
She's also about safety. And one thing about her, you never know where she's going to show up. So she's out there among the employees working. She's just not sitting behind the desk. She puts safety into action. You can count on her being out there. And because of her determination, her stamina, we've seen accidents go down phenomenally each year because of that. She's an asset to the city of Hot Springs because of her stamina, her fortitude, and the fact that she has a passion for her job. Hot Springs, the city of Hot Springs has become a safer workplace. So with that, I want to say thank you, Teri, for all you do.